Good morning, Form 1 boys and parents. As promised, this is an explanatory video on exercise 9 in your textbook. It's on page 46 in your textbook and it looks like this. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to complete a cash receipts journal for an exercise where we don't give you receipts, but we give you the transactions in a list that looks like this. Okay, so something that's important is, first of all, you need to read the information part of the exercise. It says Ntombi Dlamini is the proud owner, so you know our owner's name is Ntombi Dlamini, of an informal business. She washes windows in her neighborhood, and she also does other little jobs for extra income. Okay, so what this means is that she renders services, and therefore her main income account for the business will be current income. Remember, that's the income account associated with rendering services. It says Ntombi issues receipts to prove her income. Okay, so we will issue receipts. Remember, that's a source document. Ntombi will give the original receipts to her customers and she will keep the duplicate. Then it says you have to record the duplicate receipts for August 2006. This is important. It's the month of August, into the CRJ of Ntombi's services. And then you will notice that you've got some writing here. Now what this is these are our transactions, and the numbers that are here on the left, it looks like they follow on each other, but then you will notice that they don't really follow on each other. It says 1, 2, 5, 6. This is not a mistake. These numbers are actually the dates of the transaction. So this will be the 1st of August, this will be the 2nd of August, this will be the 5th of August, and so on. And then these, the words here are the actual transactions. Now, instead of seeing transactions in a receipt form like we did in exercise 8, it's just put into wording here. And this is the format that we usually test you. Okay, so we usually give you transactions. Now, first things first, let's go to the CRJ. I've got my own version of it. Okay, you have to remember to write the heading. So it's this Cash Receipts Journal of Ntombi Services. This time it's for August 2006. You have to write the month and the year, and it will be CRJ number 8. Why? Because every CRJ has a number, and that number refers to the month of the year. And August is actually the 8th month in the year. That's why it's CRJ number 8. Now, just a quick recap. Remember, this column will be used for receipt numbers, and the receipt numbers must follow on each other. So if they only give us the first receipt number and they don't give us receipt numbers after that, then you shouldn't stress. You will just have to know if we start with receipt number 50, I think that's what we start with in this exercise, then it must go 50, 51, 52, and so forth. The date column is to enter the date that the transaction took place. The details column here is for the name of the customer that pay us. The analysis of receipts column is like our till. Remember, I said that to you in the video explaining exercise 8. All of the money that we receive from customers will go into our till. And at the end of the day, we will cash up our till and we will put the money in the bank column. Okay, so if there's only one transaction in the day, it's fairly simple. The amount of money in our till will be the same as the amount of money that we put into our bank in one line. But if there's more than one transaction on the same day as there is in this exercise, then you will have to put the money in the till and then you bank only at the end of the day. But you will see when we go through the transactions. Then after the bank column here, you will have to specify what you received the money for. Okay, so if you receive the money for rendering a service, then you will write the value in the current income column. If you didn't receive money for rendering a service, then it will go to the sundry accounts column, and then in this details column, you have to specify what you received the money for. Okay, let's go to the transactions. Then it will make more sense to you. The first transaction took place on the 1st of August. It says receipt number 50 issued to B Bontu for babysitting services, 50 Rand. Okay, so you will say it's receipt number 50. It's on the 1st of August. We received money from B Bontu, 50 Rand. And it's the only transaction for the day. There wasn't another transaction on the 1st. So you can cash up your till and draw that line underneath the 50 Rand. Put the money in the bank. And then remember, you still need to specify what we received the money for. In this case, it was for babysitting. So babysitting counts as a service and it will go to the current income column. Then the next transaction took place on the 2nd of August 2006. We issued a receipt. Can you see? They didn't tell us what the receipt number is, but we know if the previous receipt was 50, this will be receipt number 51. To H. Tlommel for house cleaning services, which will be current income, 150 Rand. Okay, so if you go to your CRJ, you will say this is receipt number 51 because it must follow on the previous receipt number there. Okay, then it was on the 2nd of August. We received it from H. Tlommel. I think that's how you pronounce that name. 150 Rand. It was the only receipt on this day. So we can cash up our till by drawing a line and put the money in our bank. And then we have to specify what we received it for. House cleaning services counts as current income. Then the next transaction took place on the 5th of August 2006. It says issued receipt to N Normal for fetching her children from school and doing homework with them. Okay, so this will also count as a service. Therefore, the 150 Rand will be seen as current income. Okay, therefore, you will say receipt number 52. They didn't give us the receipt number, but you know it must follow on the previous number. It's on the 5th. Okay, it's from N Normal, 150 Rand. It's the only transaction for the day, so you can draw that line, cash up your till, put the money in bank, and it was received for a service, so it goes to current income. Then on the 6th, it says issued 2 receipts. So immediately you know that there was 2 transactions on that day. Okay, so now there should be red lights flashing in your mind that you have to think carefully when you complete the analysis of receipts and the bank column. Okay, 50 Rand each. So each of the receipts was worth 50 Rand. One was to B. Bontu for window washing. That would be the first receipt. And the other to D. Dlamini for fetching water. Okay, so window washing is a service and fetching water is a service. When we complete the CRJ, let's deal with the first receipt. It would be receipt number 53 because it follows on the previous receipt. It's on the 6th. It was to B. Bontu. We will put the money in our till, the 50 Rand. But it's not the only transaction for the day, so we don't cash up. Can you see I don't draw a black line underneath that 50? And I don't put the money in bank yet because I have to wait to go to the bank for the day to finish. Okay, so nothing goes to bank. What did I receive this money for? For window washing, so it counts as current income. Even though it doesn't go to bank, it must go to current income or to some other account after bank. Okay, so don't just stop with the analysis of receipts column. Then the next receipt on that day, receipt number 54, still on the 6th, so we don't write 6 again. Okay, was issued to D. Dlamini, also for 50 Rand. And now this was the last amount that we received from any customer for the day. So now you can draw your line and say at the end of the day, I will bank the 100 Rand that was lying in my till. I will bank it. Okay, so that's why this is 100. Why? How did I get that 100? I added the 2 values that I received on this day together. And I totaled them and I put the total into bank. And then the 50 Rand that I received from D. Dlamini was for fetching water for the week, which counts as a service, therefore it's current income. A common mistake that boys make is they mess this whole thing up, but I hope you don't. And another common mistake that they make is they see this 100 here, and then they write the hundreds in current income. I often also do it. Okay, so please learn from my mistakes as well, and don't do that. Then on the 7th, we issued a receipt to S. Similane, 75 Rand for services rendered at the informal market. Okay, so this one I'm just going to show the whole memo because it's getting easier. It's receipt number 55 on the 7th, S. Similane. It was the only money we received on the 7th. So you put it in your till, you can cash up your till at the end of the day, put the money in bank, and it was for services rendered at the informal market. So it goes to current income. The next transaction was on the 8th. We issued a receipt to D. Dlamini for plaiting her 2 little girls' hair for a function. 50 Rand, plaiting hair would count as a service. Okay, so it would be receipt number 56 because it follows on the previous receipt. It's on the 8th. We received the money from D. Dlamini, 50 Rand. Because it's the only transaction for the day, you can cash up your till and you can draw that line there, put the money in the bank. Plaiting hair counts as a service, so it goes to current income. You would notice so far that most of the amounts that we worked with is current income. As we progress through this year, you will see that we will introduce more and more transactions where you receive money for other reasons, like when you receive rent, or when you receive capital from the owner, or when you receive money for a sale, or when you receive money for interest or something like that. Okay, and then all of those will go to sundry accounts because there's no columns for it. But for now, we just try to keep it simple so that you can get used to the format of the COJ. Okay, where was I? On the 9th, we issued receipt to J. Zuma for helping with wedding preparations, 100 Rand. Helping with wedding preparations counts as a normal service. So we would say it's receipt number 57 on the 9th from J. Zuma. We received 100 Rand. It's the only transaction on the 9th of August. Okay, so we can draw that line, cash up, put the 100 Rand in bank for the day, and wedding preparations is services which counts as current income. Then right at the end, on the 10th, we increased her capital contribution. Who's this her? It's the owner, because it's only the owner that can give capital to the business. And the owner's name is Ntombi Dlamini. Okay, so we know the person's name that's giving us this money, N. Dlamini, by 300 Rand. In other words, N. Dlamini put another 300 Rand into the bank account of her own business. We will issue a receipt, so it will be receipt number 58. It's on the 10th. The owner's name is N. Dlamini. Please don't write owner there or her or leave it blank, because in the transaction it didn't specify who the money was received from. You know what the owner's name is. It was given in the information. So you must write N. Dlamini. We received 300 Rand from her. It's the only transaction for the day. There is actually a little line here. You just can't see it because this block is black. But you can bank the value because it's the only transaction for the day. And we didn't receive it for current income. So you can't write the 300 Rand in here. That would be wrong. We received it for capital. So you will write 300 Rand in sundry accounts and you have to specify that it was for capital. Don't write capital contribution. Okay, the account's name is capital. And then right at the end, you will have to total your columns. Remember, we don't total analysis of receipts because all of the money from our till should have been banked. There shouldn't be any money left in our till. Okay, so the first column that we total is the bank column, which totals to 975. If you total the current income column, it will total to 675, and then the sundry accounts column will total to 300. This says that the total amount in our bank that we have received from customers this month is 975 Rand, and then it just specifies that 675 Rand of that 975 was for rendering services, so we received current income, and another 300 Rand was received for something else. In this case, the something else was capital. I hope this makes sense, and I hope as you start doing exercise 10, 11, and 12, tomorrow and Thursday and Friday, you will notice or you will realize that it's actually not that difficult. Okay, stay safe. Goodbye.